Tim Burton was born Timothy Walter Burton on August 25th, 1958. He was born in Burbank, California, and then some of his genres range from superhero movies to fantasy movies. But what he's most well known for is his gothic and horror styled movies. He was also famous for working with people like Johnny Depp and Helena Bonham Carter, even becoming a dynamic duo with music composer Daniel Robert Elfman. Burton was hired and fired by Disney 3 times, and despite all this, he went through many changes to develop his own personal style. From a young age, he was quite fascinated with horror. He also was just an average student in high school, although he was drawn to arts and instead of academics. And because of his fascination with horror, he often spent time at the Valhalla Memorial Park Cemetery.
He recalls Doris Adams, a high school teacher special to him because of her encouragement for him to pursue his imaginations, even teaching him stop motion animation. So some of his most well-known work, as we see, is The Nightmare Before Christmas. Another movie is The Corpse Bride, Alice in Wonderland, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Batman, the 1989 film, and Pee-wee's Big Adventure. And if we keep on going down the list, we have Frankenweenie 2012, and Miss Peregrine's House for Peculiar Children 2016, and Edward Scissorhands Was a Big Make in 1990.
Tim Burton is very famous for his distinctive Gothic suburbia style that combines various art styles from different time periods to create a deeper, darker impression, even in children's movies. Coinciding with the Gothic art style is his use of dark imagery and dark color schemes, including shades of grays and blacks. We can see that even before analyzing on a microscopic level, his style is heavily influenced by his love for horror.
Another aspect of Burton's style is his distinctive use of shapes. His character and settings don't only appear dark, but they also appear unusually proportioned as a result of the weirdly elongated shapes and features he uses. His style can also be credited to expressionism, a form of artistic psychotherapy.
Speaking of expressionism, his movies usually depict very unrealistic and dreamlike scenarios, with many contrasting colors and unusual shapes, much rather than literal or factual pieces of information, as if the audience is in a fever dream.
Burton puts a lot of importance on his angles, especially to place emphasis on the impact certain scenes have. Many times he will integrate and alternate between high and low angles, also contrasting them in the way he contrasts colors when there are important characters or things happening that he wants to focus on.
Wait. I made a promise.
You kept your promise.
Immediately we see that Tim Burton uses his dark shades of black and blue in the characters and overall settings. What makes this scene interesting, however, is that even though the overall setting feels very solemn and dead due to his tendencies for dark tones, he is still able to obviously contrast Victor, Victoria, and Emily the Corpse Bride by using black, white, and blue, all while still staying in the spectrum of dark tones.
You set me free. And do the same for you.
Another aspect we notice is how unrealistic and disproportionate the characters appear. Although they seem very human, Burton's use of elongated and exaggerated shapes, such as the extremely large circular eyes, the skinny and long arms and fingers, and even the tiny nostrils make the characters appear unnatural and eerie, just enough to create an uncomfortable tension in the audience. Before we watch the next scene, if you pay attention to the angles Burton uses, you will notice that he heavily uses high and low angles to emphasize this emotional and significant moment. Burton's contrast of these two specific angles is so natural, similar to how he contrasts colors, that even though they may seem like opposites at first, the angles flow in a way that perfectly conveys the emotions he wanted to show. Once again, very obviously similar to Corpse Bride, Burton showcases his tendency to use dark tones even more dramatically this time, as the movie is in black and white. Also similar is his use of shapes throughout the scene, not just in Victor himself, but also in the objects within the room. They are all very distinct and intricate, adding to the already intense scene by making this whole process seem more unrealistic and dreamlike. Not to mention, both male characters we've seen in Corpse Bride and Frankenweenie were named Victor, and had similar appearances. Towards the end of this clip, right when the intensity builds up to the climactic event, Burton again contrasts between many high and low angles, showing both the sky and the emotions of the character, just like in Corpse Bride.
An important room, this. After all, it is a chocolate factory.
Then why is the door so small?
That's to keep all the great big chocolatey flavor inside.
Right as Willy Wonka opens the door to the chocolate room, we can see how Burton contrasts colors once again. Although the room itself is overly bright and colorful, the hallway leading up to it was actually dark and eerie, and even Willy Wonka himself is noticeably more pale compared to the others, giving off a mysterious vibe.
Do be careful, my dear children. Don't lose your heads. Don't get overexcited. Just keep very calm.
It's beautiful.
What? Oh, yeah, it's very beautiful.
In the room itself, the bright colors may seem like they are unusual for Tim Burton. However, if we look more closely, the bright colors along with the weirdly sharp and curvy candy create a setting that is very dreamlike, which is also one of Tim Burton's tendencies. He doesn't use much high or low angles in this specific scene compared to Corpse Bride or Frankenweenie, yet his use of colors and shapes in a dreamlike setting once again showcased the unique, gothic, cinematic style that Tim Burton is known for.
Every drop of the river is hot melted chocolate of the finest quality. The waterfall is most important. It mixes the chocolate, churns it out, makes it light and frothy. And by the way, no other factory in the world mixes its chocolate by waterfall, my dear children. And you can take that to the bank.